All right, what's going on, my friends? It's now 3 o'clock. Chad here. Hope you're enjoying your Monday. The Trailblazers locked up the number 8 seed in the West yesterday with a 122-110 victory over the NBA play-in tournament. They'll be in Phoenix tomorrow to take on the Suns. Tip-off at 7. Chris Burkhardt will have game NBA play-in tournament. They'll be in Phoenix tomorrow to take on the Suns. Tip-off at 7. Chris Burkhardt will have game day at 5 on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. The Suns are currently a 4-point favorite. The only local coverage of your Trailblazers in the postseason will be with Rip City Radio 620. If the Blazers win, they'll be the 7th Friday night, 7 o'clock at Moda Center. The winner of that game would meet the Thunder. And there's Clippers Friday night, 7 o'clock at Moda Center. The winner of that game would meet the Thunder in the first round as the number 8 seed. If the Blazers drop both games, the season is over. Todd Bosma is going to join me at 4:20 and Scoot Henderson sometime in the 5 o'clock hour.
Live from the Coors Light Studios, it's time for the Rip City Drive, hosted by the crazy and often irrational Chad Doing. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment. Choose chill.
4 seconds remaining. Cam Christie brings it across. That'll do it. It's a Rip City winner. The biggest win the Blazers have had in 5 years as they take down the LA Clippers here at Moda Center 116-97. The Portland Trailblazers finish the 2025-26 regular season at 42-40. 6 wins better than a season ago. They have doubled up their win total from 2 years ago. And they will be the 8th seed in the play-in tournament and a date in the desert with the Suns on Tuesday night for the right to play the San Antonio Spurs in the first round of the playoffs. A lot of work left to do.
Strap in. The Rip City Drive with Chad Doing starts now.
All right, pumped up for the show today for obvious reasons. How about them Trailblazers? They ended the regular season yesterday with a win over the Kings, and now we'll get set for the NBA play-in tournament, which is coming up tomorrow night down in the Valley at Mortgage Matchup Center. Blazers and Suns tip-off at 7. Game day will start at 5, and Travis Demers will have the call for you. I should note, just in case you're unaware, and maybe you're not because this is new with the new TV deals with the NBA, but there are no local television broadcasts of any of the teams in the NBA from this point forward. It's all going to be national, which means tomorrow's game is on Prime, and so your only local coverage of the Trailblazers in the postseason is with Rip City Radio 620 and Travis Demers. So you got to tune in tomorrow. I'll have the Rip City Drive live at 3 from Moda Center. Chris Burkhardt will take over with game day at 5, and then the tip-off will be at 7 o'clock. And just to give you a quick recap on what to expect, if the Blazers beat the Suns tomorrow in Phoenix, they will advance to the playoffs and be the 7th seed and match up against the San Antonio Spurs in round number 1. If they lose the game tomorrow night, and right now they're a 4-point underdog against the Suns, they will come back home and they host the Warriors or Clippers Friday night, 7 o'clock tip from Moda Center. And if they win that game, they will play at Oklahoma City in round number 1, game 1 of the NBA playoffs. If they lose both games, then the season is over. But that's what we're looking at, and it all gets started tomorrow night in Phoenix against the Suns. Now, the Blazers, you got to give them a lot of credit. I am the only one in the media that was projecting 40-plus wins for the Blazers this year. I projected 45. I was bullish on the squad based on what I saw last year with the development of the young core, and I liked the maneuvers that were made during the offseason. I projected 45. They finished with 42. Not bad when you consider they were top 3 in the NBA in games lost due to injury. Had they remained healthy throughout the course of the season, they would have won 50 games. And it's a 6-game improvement year over year. They're also much better defensively, and you see the continued growth of the young core and the emergence of certain guys on the roster. And you've got to feel pretty good about where this team is at. Winning record, 42-40. They're going to be in the NBA play-in tournament and a great chance to make the postseason. And the reason why that's important is not because we think they're going to go in and top the Spurs or the Thunder. Like, that's a tall ask right there because both those teams, I think, are head and shoulders above the rest of the teams in the Western Conference. Maybe you throw Denver in there, maybe. But the young guys getting the experience of playoff basketball, what it means to prepare, what it means to play against teams that have scouted you and have a complete game plan, teams that understand your weaknesses and go about trying to exploit them until you somehow solve that riddle. The experience, the intensity, the officiating, everything about it is different. Regular season NBA hoops is not playoff NBA hoops. Not even close. It never has been. The game's officiated differently. There's much more intensity. And think of it like this with the Spurs. What's it going to be like when Wembanyama's playing 36 to 38 minutes instead of 30 to 32 minutes? You know, the stars play. They play larger minutes. The rotations shrink, and you just get much better games. But there was a lot of credit to go around with the Trailblazers. It's pretty remarkable when you look back at the season that they had. Game number 1, and this is after we found out that Scoot had ripped up his hamstring and was going to miss half the year. I woke up the morning after game number 1 of the year against Minnesota. I got home late. It was a home game. I woke up, my phone went nuclear. And I looked at the headlines. I was like, wait, what? Chauncey Billups arrested for rigged poker games? That's not a way you want to start out your season. And yet the Blazers, they named Tiago Splitter the acting head coach, and then they proceeded to move forward. And what a job they did. 3rd in the league in games lost due to injury. Jeremy Grant missed significant time. Drew Holiday missed significant time. Denny Avdia missed significant time. And yet, with the depth and the young guys that were called upon and the emergence of certain players like Donovan Clingan, best offensive rebounder in the game, Denny Avdia, who is now a superstar in the NBA, and you just go down the line and it's like, wow, what about Jeremy Grant embracing his role off the bench and then changing the way that he plays, either shooting the three or attacking the paint and getting to the foul line? Robert Williams III, the team found a balance in minutes played, giving him rest, no second of night of back-to-backs, and keeping him healthy and ultra-productive in limited minutes off the bench. It's pretty impressive. Matisse Thybulle made a late-season return and has been invaluable on the defensive end. There's just a lot of credit to go around. And when you have success like this, you look at the coaching staff, you look at the front office, and you look at the players. And you just tip the cap and say, job well done. Now, they're not where they want to be. They still have a lot of work to do on the roster, internal development, all of it. But the team now has direction at the top with new owners. They've got a young core that is promising, and they're getting a chance to get a taste of postseason action now, and it will kick off tomorrow night in Phoenix against the Suns. Now, what exactly is playoff basketball? How is it different? Here's Coach Splitter after the win yesterday over the Kings.
You start with the game plan. Once you have the game plan, you just got to try to do it playing hard. And there's a part of also a little like enjoyment, let it fly, play free. You know, you can't play that game super tense. It's a balance there between, you know, knowing the game plan, play hard, but also play freely a little bit. And these guys are young and they get it, and it's part of their lives. But there's a balance there between playing with, you know, you cannot be in a fear or anything like that. You just got to play hard and enjoy that part.
Yeah, there you go. Coach also talked about the obstacles. And there were many obstacles this team had to overcome. I think that's one of the things I appreciate most about their season was how they dealt with adversity and found a way to overcome. Whether it was Sidi Sissoko and Caleb Love playing significant minutes, it was Denny Avdia taking on this role as primary facilitator, being a point guard, Robert Williams III being a big-time contributor off the bench, Chris Murray picking his spots and when he wanted to step up and be a good defender, a rebounder, and a playmaker. The list goes on and on and on.
We went through everything that you can imagine, right? But of course, it's going to be a tough game, a lot of pressure that we are putting on ourselves and external pressure. So just part of it. Just you got to enjoy that. Know that that's going to be part of their lives now, playing those important games, playoff games, playing games. don't get better than that. You start playing basketball for meaningful basketball, and that's what it is, the postseason.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I love it. Scoot Henderson talked after the game yesterday, and he's played well down the stretch in the starting lineup, but he was asked about the progress of this young team.
Man, we got great guys around us now. Everybody's just buying into what we have going as a team, and everybody bought in, early on, and that's pressure, and that's playing fast, playing together, and at that point, anything is possible as long as we just stick to what we're doing.
Thiago helped with that.
I think Thiago being another player coach, I think it helps. He's been in these situations a bunch of times, just with his career as a player, and then as a coach, he's done very great things. So I think he's going to help us.
No question about it. Two other things I want you to hear. Drew Holiday, who was brought in to help this team win, he certainly has done that. He's been terrific down the stretch. He just talked about this group meshing together as the season went along.
I like to win, so that's cool. But, they had talented guys. They've had talent on this team for quite a few years, and I think they've known that. So I'm not really sure what I did or how much I've done, but I think just with experience and the talent meshing together this year has been the reason why we're at this point.
Yeah, no question. Holiday was also asked about the young guys on the team and what he sees, because he's one of the vets. He's been around a long time. He's won a couple of championships.
Everybody down to our two-ways, getting a chance to play extreme minutes, big minutes throughout the season with guys out and guys injured, stepping up big and getting us to where we are now, winning games, has been huge. Denny taking a big jump and becoming the man and being an all-star. Same thing with Kling. I think offensively he's shown that he's capable to really put it up on the scoreboard, but defensively protecting the paint and helping us out a lot. So I think from everybody, from Tumani down to Caleb, everybody's done great.
Yeah, no question. I love Drew Holiday so much. Just being around him, getting a chance to see how he operates, the way he communicates, his work ethic, what he brings to the locker room. He's like one of the greatest humans in the history of the NBA, and I mean that sincerely. I know this is weird, Trailblazer fans, because right now, what do we have to bitch about? Not a whole lot, right? Before, it was Jody and he wants to win, and he's going to be aggressive, and he's going to shake things up. And he wants to win, and he's going to be aggressive, and he's going to shake things up. So we got leadership at the top. The team's back in the postseason. They're not trying to actively lose basketball games. We're going to have a playoff basketball game tomorrow night. It's a day to celebrate. We have nothing to complain about, for crying out loud, other than the fact that you're going to have to go to Prime to watch the game. Screw Prime. Just come to Rip City Radio 620, all right? It's a good day in Rip City. And there's a lot of guys on this team that I really like. Drew Holiday being one. I'm a big on Denny Avdia. I think Robert Williams III has been pretty special. Thiago Splitter. It's pretty amazing. I mean, coach on a basketball team. Take a listen to this.
You start with the game plan.
Where's that clip at? Oh, yeah. Take a listen to this.
What would have your reaction been at the beginning of the season if I would have told you that you would be a head coach in this position right now?
That you were nuts.
It's amazing. He came in as an assistant to work with Coach Billups, and before you know it, he's the acting head coach, trying to learn on the fly, and he's got the team in the postseason. All right, Scoot Henderson sometime in the 5 o'clock hour after they land in Phoenix. Todd Bosma of your Trailblazers at 4:20. But up next, we got to recap the Masters. I wanted anyone but Rory. And he goes out and goes back-to-back with the Green Jackets. It's pretty impressive. And we'll recap the tournament with PGA David Coleman coming up next. If you want to celebrate Rip City today, you can reach out to me, 503-248-0620. Game tomorrow, tip-off at 7. Blazers game day with Chris Burkhardt at 5. I'll have the Rip City Drive at 3. But remember, the only local broadcast that you can have of your Trailblazers now that the postseason is underway is through Rip City Radio 620. We'll recap the Masters next.
Rory is a rare repeat winner at Augusta.
All right, back-to-back for Rory, if you can believe that. And joining us now to recap the Masters is our good friend, PGA David Coleman is back. What's up, Dave?
Hey, Chad. Thanks for having me back on, man. That was an exciting tournament this past weekend, and, boy, a lot of things to talk about coming out of the event.
Well, how was Rory able to get it done without his best golf over the weekend?
I think his short game has improved so much, and I think the fact that he went up to Augusta several times in the weeks leading up to the tournament, he didn't play any tournaments after the Players' Championship. So I think he knew he had to get up there and get ready, to defend this title, and I think he wanted to, kind of validate that he won it last year and it wasn't just a one-time thing. And I think Rory really was, grinding hard this week from what I've heard on the range and working on his short game a lot because that's the one thing around that course, Chad. I mean, you have to have a great short game to really be able to score there at Augusta because the greens are so diabolical and so challenging. If you miss a green, those lies you're chipping off of, you might even have to putt off of like Rory did a couple times yesterday. It's not easy to get the ball up and down when you miss a green there.
Yeah, no question about it. I guess what impressed me too, or what did you make of his mental makeup to have the fall off on Saturday and have a couple of guys breathing down his neck, but stay strong and be able to get the job done?
Yeah, I think that's where, he works a lot with Bob Rotella. He also works with Brad Faxon a lot on his short game. So I think he leaned into these guys and talked to them a lot at probably Saturday night and maybe even Sunday morning and really said, okay, I still have a chance to win this tournament and, stick to your process, stick to who you are. And even in his worst, even though he was hitting the ball really poorly off the tee, he was still able to get it done because let's face it, I mean, he was able to, hit his wedges really well. And then anytime he missed a green, it seemed like he was able to get up and down. And that's something that the Rory of even 5, 7, 8 years ago probably wouldn't have been able to do. So it's really different to see the evolution of Rory and how much he's, changed as a player. Because this is stuff that years ago he probably wouldn't have been able to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. And with those changes, I mean, he seems like he's in a really good place right now. That's probably going to bode well for him the rest of the season, right, as he enters into the other majors.
Yeah, you would think so. There's no doubt about it. I mean, obviously, going forward at Augusta, I think he's always, as long as he, hits the ball, consistently, and obviously with his short game, the improvements he made with that, he's always going to be a factor at Augusta. And I think there's no doubt on the other majors, there's no doubt Rory's going to be on the short list of a guy that could definitely get it done. I think there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be hungry, especially at the PGA coming up next month at Aronimink, where, I think it's a golf course that some of the guys who are going to be in the field have won before. So it's a course where, I think it's a type thing where, obviously you have to drive the ball a little straighter than Augusta. Augusta has rough, but I think the PGA and going to a more traditional golf course is really going to favor a guy who hits the ball a little straighter, more like a U.S. Open setup. So it's going to be fascinating to see if Rory can tighten up that driver a little bit. Obviously, the short game is important, but, to win majors, especially we know at a U.S. Open, the way the PGA's been set up the last few years, you've got to hit the ball in the fairway to score.
Wasn't it amazing on hole 18 yesterday? CBS has got like 1 billion cameras on hole 18, and they couldn't even figure out where Rory's ball was at. It was amazing.
It sure was. Yeah, that was shocking. That was really surprising, especially with all the drones and all the coverage we've seen for years now at Augusta. That was really surprising that something like that happened. Hey, I guess things happen when, you're covering sports, but that was very surprising to say the least.
What did you think about his recovery shot there that he put into the bunker to get over that tree line?
Yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, that was probably the wise play because, one, he's got so much speed, Chad, where he can hit it way up in the air, and he hits his irons 1,000,000 miles in the air, and he hits it so far. That was probably the smart play because if he chipped it out, there were a lot of trees in the way, and then you've got a nervy shot from the fairway, depending on what distance you have. That's not the easiest shot coming into that green, so I think that was a really smart shot there, and obviously that's where his caddy and him kind of went through it. They talked it over, and that's where, you have to have a lot of trust in your golf swing in the heat of battle, especially on the final hole of a major championship.
We're talking to our PGA expert, David Coleman, here on the Rip City Drive. I was pulling for Scotty Scheffler. I love him. He came up just short, even though he was on fire Saturday and Sunday. What prevented him from winning the tournament?
Oh, the par fives did. There's no doubt. I mean, the par fives on Friday, 13 and 15, he bogeyed both of them. Those were his undoing, and that's so shocking for Scheffler, who's been so good on the par fives historically in his career on the PGA Tour and at the majors, and it was really surprising to see him struggle. I think the second shot on 13 on Friday when he had that uphill lie, he would like to have that one back. There's no doubt. That was a shot that was uncharacteristic. He was forcing it a little bit, I think, there. Maybe he looked at a leaderboard and said, hey, I got to make a move at this point, but he should have stuck to his game plan. His wedge play has always been really solid, so that's where he should have laid up. Just a bad decision there, but it showed that, it didn't bother him that much because he made a great move on the weekend, and I think there's no doubt Scheffler is going to have a lot of motivation in the regular tour events, in the majors, for the rest of the year, because this is one that he definitely could have won.
Yeah, I saw that stat where he became the first golfer, I think it was since 1942, to have back-to-back rounds on Saturday and Sunday bogey-free. How good is that?
Oh, unbelievable on that golf course. I mean, you think of how tough that course was, and, he was talking about that with the media yesterday, especially those holes on the front nine. You look at number 4 is a diabolical par 3, 5 is a really tough par 4, and then 6 is a very tricky par 3, and then 7 is about as wide as a toothpick, and you've got to hit it, in the fairway there, or else you're probably going to make a bogey, because that green is surrounded by bunkers. So that stretch on the front is tough, and then obviously we know the holes on the back. I mean, 10, 11, 12, 13 even you can make a bogey on. There's a lot of tough holes, and then the finishing holes. 17 is a much longer hole than it used to be, and 18 is a hole that comes out of a pretty narrow chute there, where if you don't hit it straight, I mean, you could easily make a bogey. And we saw that with Rory. He's lucky he had that shot to play with there on the final hole. But there's so many tough holes on that golf course. Even number 1, you could say, is a really hard starting hole. So Augusta, even though it doesn't have the rough that, say, a U.S. Open like at Oakmont has, or the PGA might have next month at Aronimink, or what we saw last year at Quail Hollow with that Green Mile finishing stretch, you could really get in some trouble pretty easily on that course.
Yeah, no question about it, man. Justin Rose was right there. He had a great tournament. What prevented him from getting the job done?
Oh, man, it's disheartening because this is a guy that's lost twice in sudden death playoffs. I think, honestly, Chad, he got ahead of himself. It was interesting. He backed off the second shot on 10. He backed off the second shot on 11. And then 12, it just seemed like he just melted down. And that's a hole that has just crushed guys over the years. So many different great players have struggled on that hole in the final round of the Masters. And I think he got ahead of himself. He started thinking about winning this. He could have been thinking about, hey, what does this mean for my career, my legacy? I mean, it's easy. I mean, we're talking about it on the radio here. There's no doubt that Justin Rose, I'm sure, probably has had these thoughts. And you think of where this guy came from, Chad. He turned pro when he was a teenager. He missed so many cuts when he started his career. And now he's gotten to this point where, a lot of people are considering him to be a Hall of Fame player. And he's won a U.S. Open. He's been a great Ryder Cup player, won a lot of places on the tour, won a gold medal. The green jacket is the only thing he's missing on his resume. So there's no doubt that Justin Rose probably got a little ahead of himself, and let's hope he can put himself in that position again and win another major or come back and win at the Masters.
All right, what do you think went wrong with Sam Burns and Cam Young on the front nine Sunday?
I just think, to me, the Cam Young did not putt great yesterday. There was no doubt. He missed a lot of makeable putts, and some of that's nerves, some of that's not knowing the golf course. He's only played it so many times, and I think they reworked the greens over time. I know Jack Nicklaus talked about that last week, before the tournament started, that they kind of resod the greens. They do some things in the off season there. So there's no doubt that he doesn't know the greens probably as well as veteran players do. But I think Cam Young is knocking on the door. I think the putting was what hurt him. And I think Sam Burns, I think I think the magnitude of that event, he got off to a crummy start. Anytime you make a double bogey on a par 5, it's just I think it's nerves, the pressure of the moment. I think there's no doubt Sam Burns is a guy that last year he put himself in the mix at Oakmont, at the U.S. Open. I think he's going to be back, but I think I heard some people too last week say he's underachieved a little bit in his career. So I think he's got to win a little bit more to prove that he really is one of the top players on the tour. But he's good friends with Scotty Scheffler, Chad. So I think he's got a lot of inner motivation to prove that he can be one of the top players. And I think there's no doubt he's got the ability and the confidence to back it up and do it someday.
All right. What did you learn about Bryson DeChambeau this weekend?
I think a couple things. I think number one, the courses that Liv is playing is not that difficult. I think they're playing a lot of resort courses. They played some public golf courses over the years since they've been around. These are courses for tour pros that are pretty easy. That's not going to really help you get ready for a major. The other thing, too, is his short game, Chad. With his irons, he plays those one-length irons. They're all the same length as a 7-iron. That's a longer shaft than you would normally use to chip and pitch with a sand wedge or a lob wedge. So I think it's got to be very difficult to hit these short shots around these greens with all these runoffs, and the greens are so firm and fast, and a lot of these greens have water around them too. And AS11 was a great example of that. You know, he hit a bunker shot where he hit way behind it, and I just think, to me, he's got the wrong setup with his wedges, and I think that's something he's got to really take inventory of. And I think, too, a lot of people are hyping this guy, and you know what? He probably heard that and read that. We know what a figure he is on social media. You know, he might be bought into that a little bit too much. And at the end of the day, you know what? Sometimes you need to be humbled. I think he'll be back, though. I think there's no doubt. I think a lot of people, the old school fans, want to cut him down. I think Bryson's going to be back. I think he's going to figure it out. I think changing clubs like he's changed clubs the last few years with his irons hasn't maybe helped him as much, because there's been times where his iron play has hurt him as well. So I think he's got some figuring out to do, but I think Bryson is too good of a player not to be in the 100 majors in the near future.
One more question for you with the golfers. Colin Morikawa, do you think his back's going to be okay the rest of the year?
Good question, man. That was a gutty performance. I mean, that was, I think a lot of people didn't expect him to play. He did not play after the Players' Championship. He skipped all those tournaments, because of his injury. That's a real good question, Chad. And he's a guy that definitely can be a factor at a major. I mean, he's won a couple majors. He drives it so straight. He hits that little left-to-right cut shot, which is a shot that Nicklaus and Tiger played for so many years that was so effective. It's a great question. I mean, if he's healthy, man, there's no doubt he can be a factor in a major, because he's got this mentality. Like, I mean, when he won at Pebble early this year in the signature event, it's like he's kind of nothing bothers that guy, So I think if he can get healthy and he can be right, there's no doubt he could win a major. I think he's a perfect U.S. Open type player because he hits it so straight. And his irons, man, he flushes it with his irons. Hits the center of the club face so much with his irons. I think there's no doubt he can be a factor for sure if he's healthy. But that's a big if right now.
All right, PGA Championship will kick off May 14th. What's your initial take on the tourney?
Yeah, it's going to be a great test. It's in Philly at Aronimink, a golf course that was designed by Donald Ross. Been redesigned. I think Gil Hance redesigned it about 7 or 8 years ago. I think he's tried to keep some of the architecture that Donald Ross had, where the greens, really severe, a lot of back to front, where you get behind the pin and there's a front pin, you're going to have a real challenge to try to two-putt, and your lag putting is going to be a real key on that course. Obviously, I think the rough is going to be a big part of it there, because I think the PGA, when they play these northeastern golf courses, they set it up more like a U.S. Open, I think. So the other thing, too, that's interesting is Justin Rose and Keegan Bradley have both won tournaments there. Both those guys will obviously be in the field. How much that's going to help them has got to give them some good vibes going there. So it's a golf course that's going to play tough. I think Scheffler, to me, right now, is got to be so motivated with these signature events coming up before the PGA, and then obviously the PGA Championship, because Scheffler's only won once this year. I think he's had sort of a disappointing season for himself, and I think he's going to be really motivated to win. But I think Philly is a great golf town. They got some great history there. It's a fantastic place to have a PGA Championship at, and I think we're going to see probably a score somewhere similar to what we saw at the Masters, maybe 10 or 12 under win. But I think driving it in the fairway is going to be crucial on a golf course like that in the Northeast, because it's not going to be extremely long, but I think if they grow the rough, that's going to be a great equalizer.
All right, PJ David Coleman, our insider for golf. Hey, Dave, you're the man. I appreciate the breakdown on the Masters. Great work, and we'll catch up again before the PGA Championship. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, Chad. Thanks again for having me on. And, really looking forward to it. Next few weeks, there's a lot of big tournaments, so hopefully this is a great time of year to really get into golf, and looking forward to the PGA a lot in a few weeks.
You got it, buddy. There you go. PGA David Coleman, love him. And what a great tournament it was for Rory. I did not want him to win the tournament. I'm just going to be honest with you. But he did, back-to-back, which is tough to do. And I thought Scheffler going back-to-back rounds Saturday and Sunday, making a charge, and doing so bogey-free. First golfer to do that since 42. Ridiculous. But I respect that course. And especially on a Sunday at the Masters, you have to be so good with your short game and on the greens. And I thought Rory, again, like David said, he didn't have his best stuff, but he got the job done. And somehow, after a minor meltdown on Saturday, he was able to regroup and recover and get the job done. And he even somehow didn't lose his mind, with that recovery shot in 18 when he sprayed the ball right into the trees. They couldn't even find the ball. That's how bad the shot was. But he got out from that mess into the bunker and then put the shot up on the green, barely missed his par putt, put it down for bogey, got the win. So props to Rory. Another green jacket for him, and now he's poised to have a big-time year. And he seems like he's mentally in a good spot, in a good space. And I think that puts him in a position to where he can go out and challenge for another major or two this year. And we'll see. I love Bryson DeChambeau. Very disappointed with his effort this weekend. And I was having a couple of people text me who were at the Masters this weekend, and I was insanely jealous. Would love to be there to walk the course. And I think what I would do, instead of following a big-time name, I'd pick one of the guys, the older guys I like Fred Couples, and follow them around just to avoid the crowd, the masses. All right, 503-248-0620. I'd love to get your take on the Trailblazers season as a whole. Now that it's over, they finished 42-40. The playing game is tomorrow in Phoenix against the Suns. Tip-off at 7. And our coverage will start with Blazers game day at 5. All TV games in the playoffs are national. Tomorrow's game's on Prime. The only local coverage you can get of your Trailblazers is right here on Rip City Radio 620 with the voice, Travis Demers. Todd Bosma of the Blazers is going to join me coming up at 4:20 to talk about the events going on this week. And then Scoot Henderson going to join me sometime in the 5 o'clock hour once they land safely in Phoenix. And I appreciate you. Hope you're enjoying your Monday out there. You got the Rip City Drive with Chad Doing on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, Michael Shacker and I have been working behind the scenes. Our Trailblazers coverage tomorrow will start at noon with Section 113 podcast with Travis and I. You're going to hear a fresh Blazers balcony with Casey Holdahl. He'll be in Phoenix. He takes off tomorrow morning. He'll be down there for the game and have a full report. Phoenix. He takes off tomorrow morning. He'll be down there for the game and have a full report. So we got you fully covered. What else do you need? We got coverage starting at noon tomorrow. And then the tip-off with the Phoenix Suns will be at 7 o'clock. You know, the Phoenix Suns have been a very difficult matchup for the Blazers so far this season. But I think Portland, I've said it now for like the last 3 or 4 weeks. Everyone else is always worried about the seeding. Like the people I work with, the broadcasters, they're always concerned about the seeding and the Blazers getting to 8. I wasn't so concerned about that. What I worried most about was just the Blazers somehow finding a way over the last couple of weeks of the season to put themselves in a position to where they were playing their best basketball going into the play-in tournament. And I don't know if they're playing their very best basketball, but they're close. I thought that win on Friday against the Clippers was terrific. They jumped out to a big lead. The Clippers came all the way back in the third quarter and recaptured the lead by 3 midway through at 82-79. And then the Blazers just cranked up the defensive intensity in that fourth quarter. 23-5 run, game over. They won it going away. Big night from Denny Avdia. Big night for Donovan Clingan. And they did it with their defense. And the Blazers now to finish out the year, for the entire season over the course of 82 games, the Blazers finished 11th in the league in defensive rating. That's really good. My expectation for the season was somewhere between 5 and 10, and they finished tied with Charlotte at 11. So we're seeing remarkable improvement on that end of the floor. The reason why that's an important thing to bring up right now is because playoff basketball is not regular season basketball. What happens is in the postseason, because these teams, if you get into a 7-game playoff series, teams go through a full in-depth scouting report. Not like they do in the regular season, but the playoffs is different. They do a deep dive on every single player. Everything you run, what you're good at, what you're bad at. I mean, they know everything about you. And then they devise a game plan to exploit your weaknesses. So it's very comprehensive in terms of preparation. And what happens is typically in these playoff games, teams will go through a 3, 4, 5-minute drought without a field goal. You're going to have moments where you just can't get the good looks or get the offense to go because of the physicality, the way the game's officiated, all of it. So the question is, how do you get over and have success in those type of situations? Well, you do it by defending, getting stops, rebounding. And that's why I've been harping on all these items in the margins that you want the Blazers to be good at. Now, what concerns me the most, whether it be the game tomorrow night in Phoenix, or maybe a game at home on Friday against the Clippers or Warriors if they lose tomorrow night, or in a playoff series against the Spurs or the Thunder, the turnovers. They've been better the last 2 games, but they've been awful throughout the course of the season, worst in the NBA with turnovers. And you just can't have sloppy play in playoff basketball against quality opponents or they'll kill you. They'll take advantage of that. Teams like the Spurs and the Thunder, when you make mistakes, they cash in. And the Blazers have got to be prepared for that. Now, the one area where the Blazers have been dominant is offensive rebounding. Donovan Clingan is simply the best offensive rebounder in the league, and because of that, he's able to generate second and third opportunities, and the Blazers typically will dominate with their second chance points. And they need that because they're not a great shooting team. But I did hear yesterday, too, was it Coach Splitter? I think it was Coach Splitter who said that Jeremy Grant is progressing nicely. Now, what that means, I don't know, but it would be nice if the Blazers advance into a playoff series to see Jeremy Grant back at some time. And then the team would be fully healthy for the first time since the beginning of the year. And I guess technically they weren't even fully healthy at the beginning of the year because Scoot was out with that shredded hamstring. So it would be nice to have everyone back at full strength. But now at least with Sharp back in the mix, and I think he's looked pretty good the last couple of games, his first 2 games back after being out for an extended period of time. They've got scoring punch off the bench. I like the way he engaged defensively yesterday. Scoot's been very aggressive defensively. You've got the defensive capabilities of Matisse Thybulle. In the starting lineup, Drew Holiday's been locked down. Donovan Clingan with his rim protection and his rebounding. And then you've got Robert Williams III, who's been dynamite. Rebounding, defense, blocking three-point shots, you name it. So the Blazers roster now that it's healthy is pretty versatile. And the good thing is about these first-rounders, that they have a lot of space in between games. So Robert Williams III will be able to play in every game because they won't have back-to-back situations. So that's good. But I do like the situation tomorrow. The Suns have not really played a meaningful game in quite some time. And they haven't really played good basketball in quite some time because they haven't had to. And I just think the Blazers going into that game tomorrow, they should be able to get off to a good start. They've been battle-tested because they've had to play in big games all the way up until the end. Even yesterday, even though they were taking on the Kings G League squad, and it's really hard to refocus after you smack the Clippers in the face to get ready for the Tomato Can Kings. But they had to play, and their guys played yesterday. I think the Blazers have a chance to get off to a really good start in that game tomorrow. And the other thing, too, is that Denny Avdia is back to being his normal, usual, healthy self on their side. But it goes back to what we've been talking about. You got to protect the things on their side. But it goes back to what we've been talking about. You got to protect the basketball, value your possessions. Drew Holiday talked about that yesterday, that it's a possession game in the NBA playoffs. You got to protect those possessions and value them. You got to be connected defensively. You can't get off to a horrendous start. And then rebound the basketball. And that's where Donovan Clingan comes in. All right, we'll keep things rolling. I appreciate you. Todd Bosma going to join us coming up at 4:20. We got some good things going on in Rip City this week. And then Scoot Henderson sometime in the 5 o'clock hour. My guess would be like 5:20. You got the Rip City Drive on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, the Trailblazers locked up the number 8 seed in the West yesterday with a 122-110 victory over the Kings. Portland finishes the year at 42-40, a 6-game improvement year over year, and now they get set for the play-in tournament. Coverage will start at noon right here in your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Our coverage will start at noon right here in your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. The only local coverage of your Trailblazers in the postseason will be on Rip City Radio 620. The game can be seen on Prime. If the Blazers win, they'll be the 7th seed and meet the San Antonio Spurs in the first round. If they lose, they will host either the Warriors or Clippers Friday night at Moda Center at 7, and the winner of that game would take on the Thunder in the first round as the number 8 seed. If the Blazers drop both games, their season is over. Todd Bosma of the Blazers is going to join me at 4:20, and Scoot Henderson going to join me sometime in the 5 o'clock hour. All right, Scoot Henderson is going to join me sometime in the 5 o'clock hour. The team right now on their way to Phoenix. My guess is they'll be landing either right now or sometime in the very near future. Our coverage tomorrow with the Blazers will start at noon, and with the Section 113 podcast with Travis and I. And then you're going to hear Casey Holdon, Brooke Olzendam in the Blazers balcony, followed by the Trailblazer Insider with Sean Hyken, followed by the Rip City Drive, and then Blazers game day at 5, tip-off at 7. And just a reminder, all the games, the NBA is dumb, by the way. I'm sure that you're aware of this, but Adam Silver's crazy. And like a lot of these corporate gurus, he's a money-grubbing you-know-what. And because of that, the NBA has elected to move away from any local television broadcasts in the first round of the playoffs, which is incredibly stupid. Fans in their local markets do not want to hear the national broadcasters. We want to hear our local broadcasters. But the NBA doesn't care because they got a big check. So if you want local coverage, the best place to come is right here. Rip City Radio 620, where you can listen to Travis Demers on the call. That's the best way to do it. And that game tomorrow will be at 7 o'clock. Really, these teams, the Suns, the Blazers, the Warriors, and the Clippers, they're all very similar in terms of how their seasons played out and where they finished. You know, a lot of teams in the league dealt with injuries. Certainly all 4 of those teams did that I just mentioned. But the Suns have the same concerns about the Blazers going into the postseason. I just think that Portland is catching Phoenix at the right time. I expect the Blazers to go in there tomorrow and win the basketball game. I think they'll win and advance, and they're going to take on the Spurs in the first round. The Suns have the first 50 games of the year. They were well-connected defensively. They were playing good basketball, but since then, it's been kind of hit and miss. Struggling defensively, they've had a pretty big fall in terms of defensive efficiency. I think they're around 17th in the NBA now. Communication issues, breakdowns, and they struggle to deal with teams that have size and strength in the middle. And one area where Portland is really strong is their center combination. Donovan Clingan and Robert Williams, and the dominance that those two have had on the offensive glass. And one number where the Blazers dominated the Suns during the regular season was second chance points. And that's a key number for the Blazers. There's usually in every game a few numbers you can look at for the Blazers and know how they're playing. Second chance points, offensive rebounds, turnovers and points off turnovers, a 3-point percentage, Those are kind of the key numbers for Portland. And for the Suns, they've just had an issue. They haven't really been able to piece together multiple games over the last, 32 games of the season. They haven't been consistent. And they haven't played in a meaningful game for quite some time because they've had the 7th spot locked up. Guys have been in and out of the lineup, no continuity. So I really do think that the Blazers are in a good spot. And Todd Bosman is going to come up at 4:20 to let us know about the watch party, everything that's going on this week. And again, if the Blazers win tomorrow in Phoenix, they're in the postseason. They'll be the 7th seed in the West, and they'll play the Spurs in the first round. And game 1 of that series will kick off either Saturday or Sunday. If they lose tomorrow, the Blazers will come back to Portland, and they're going to host either the Warriors or Clippers Friday night at Moda Center. That game will tip off at 7. If the Blazers win that game, they would move on to face the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round of the NBA playoffs as the number 8 seed in the Western Conference. So that's how it's going to play out for Portland. But I do think they're going to win tomorrow. I think they're catching Phoenix at the right time. I think the Blazers are battle-tested. And the way that they're locked in or have been over the last few games defensively, and the way that Denny Avdia is getting into the teeth of the defense and getting to the foul line, the offensive rebounding between Klingon and Robert Williams, the Blazers being healthy, all of these things put Portland in a very good position. But it's not a done deal. They got to protect the basketball. They've got to start the game with the right type of intensity. They've got to stay connected defensively. And then we'll see who's able to emerge. But I like the way they've played, especially that game on Friday against the Clippers. That game made me very happy. I mean, they beat the Clippers not once but twice in the last week and a half to get into this position to where they're in the 7-8 matchup, which is great. The reason why you want the 7-8 matchup if you're in the play-in is because you get 2 shots to win a game to become a member of the postseason. It's that simple. Now, I do want to touch on real quick the Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel situation that popped up last week when pictures emerged of the two with interlocked hands, giving each other hugs, and hanging out in a hot tub together about 2 hours outside of Phoenix where the league had their annual meetings. And this place in Sedona is like a high-level, expensive resort. It's like a romantic resort where couples go to hang out. That's really what it is. It's like a romantic getaway. And you've got Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel with interlocked hands and hanging out in a hot tub. NFL insider with NFL head coach, interlocked hands, hugging, and being in the hot tub together at a romantic resort 2 hours outside of where the league meetings were held. Now, what makes this an issue, 2 things, really. One, an NFL insider, a female NFL insider, hanging out with a head coach in the NFL in a hot tub. That could be crossing the lines professionally there. Also, both of them are married. And it was interesting because when the news first broke with the pictures, and it looks like, and a lot of people believe now, that it could be a private investigator who took those photos. When it first popped up, The Athletic came out and was like, hey, there's nothing to see here. We believe in Diana Rossini. No problem. I mean, they didn't even ask any questions. There was no investigation, no nothing. They just came out in full support of Diana Rossini. Well, now she is not going to be covering the NFL for a couple of weeks as they conduct an investigation. So basically, she's been suspended until they conduct their investigation. And Mike Vrabel has decided not to speak in the pre-draft little get-together. Like, he's not going to take questions. And my guess is any type of legal counsel would advise him, don't go to the press conference. You don't want to face those questions. You're not going to get any questions about the draft. You don't want to say anything. Just keep your pie hole shut. So Mike Vrabel's not going to answer questions. And, of course, he had the same type of initial response. Nothing to see here. Completely innocent. But here's where the problem is. And, again, I'm not married, but most of my friends are. The type of touching that are in the pictures, like, let me ask you a question. If you're a married lady or a married man out there, if you saw pictures pop up at a romantic resort getaway of your wife and another man that was not you, and vice versa? If you're a wife and you saw a man with a woman that was not you, and you saw them hugging and being in a hot tub together and having their fingers interlocked, you okay with that? I mean, isn't that a violation of like the covenant of the marriage where that type of intimate connection or touch, like that seems like that would be crossing the line. In fact, it doesn't seem like it would be crossing the line. It's crossing the line. Any type of intimate connection that you share with someone outside of your marriage that's not your spouse, you're crossing the line. Now, like that's a serious problem. And if you say it's not a problem, that means that it is a problem and you're probably someone that's likely to cheat. So I'm just telling you that my first read on this situation, as soon as they came out in full denial and said there's nothing to see here, I would bet my bottom dollar right now, I would take everything I have and just place it on those two are physically involved. There's no question in my mind. And I think most of you out there with a reasonable brain or a functional brain understand the same thing. And it's unfortunate because there are ladies in the business who do a heck of a job, who do not cross or blur the lines. And there are people out there that give them a bad name. So just one of those situations. Anytime humans come out and say there's nothing to see here, there's usually a lot to see there. And The Athletic was foolish in their initial full-on defense of Diana Rossini without any investigation. And, of course, you know how the New York Times is. They, holier than thou type deal. And I also heard, I think Diana Rossini's contract is up this summer. So it's a very convenient time to make sure you go through your investigation before you enter into negotiations. So I don't know. I'm just not buying it. There's no way. Who shows up like that at a romantic resort with the hugs and the hot tub and the interlocked fingers? And not only that, but there's no pictures of them with their friends because the initial report was it was a get-together of friends. But there's no pictures with any friends. No friends are coming to the defense of either side. Yeah, it's all fishy. It's nonsense. I mean, this kind of stuff's been going on for a long time. And this is what's going to happen when you have people of the opposite sex covering, people in those type of spots. You got athletes, high-octane athletes, testosterone. And it's not a surprise this stuff's going down. But the denial is comical. It's like, come on, man. Is going to join me next, and we'll give you a preview of what's cracking in Rip City this week. Bob Bosma is going to join me next, and we'll give you a preview of what's cracking in Rip City this week. Suns right now a 4-point favorite. Let me check the most recent line. It opened at 4.5, and it's been bet down to 4. And the current spread is 4. And the game will tip off at 7. Our coverage will start at noon. Blazer game day at 5 with Chris Burkhardt. Travis Demers on the call at 7. Live from Mortgage Matchup Center in Phoenix, Arizona. I love Phoenix. I love Tucson. I love Tempe. Everything about the Valley I'm down with, but I hate the Suns. And I want the Blazers to go down there and kick their ass. And have it be Denny Avdia night at Mortgage Matchup Center. And then move on to get ready to face the Spurs. Todd Bosma is coming up next. And then Scoot Henderson coming up sometime in the 5 o'clock hour. I'm going to go interlock my fingers with Michael Shacker now. All right, the Trailblazers kick off their play-in tournament tomorrow night. They're going to be in Phoenix at Mortgage Matchup Center. Tip-off against the Suns will be at 7 o'clock. And our coverage will kick off with Blazer Game Day at 5. Tip-off with Travis Demers at 7. And joining us right now from your Trailblazers, Mr. Todd Bosma. Todd, what's up, brother?
Hey, Chad, how you doing today, man? Thanks for having me on.
You know, it's so great to talk with you. Like me, you've been in this area for a long time. It's like I've never forgotten the feeling, but isn't playoff basketball in this town always great?
Oh, my gosh. I don't know if it's the change of the weather, it's the excitement of, the culmination of months of hard work on the court to really reach the postseason. It takes it to another level. I think, anything can happen in the playoffs. So the fact that you have a chance to get into the playoffs, the excitement is there. The team seems to be playing well at the right time. So just excited, and you're exactly right. The playoffs are an entirely different animal here in Rip City.
Yeah, you know what's awesome, too, is that regardless of what takes place tomorrow night, the Blazers are guaranteed to have another game at Moda Center either Friday in the second playing game, or they'll just advance to the first round of the NBA playoffs and get 2 home games against the Spurs. So either way, we win because we're going to have a chance to get a taste in Moda Center with playoff action. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could even, you could get a little bit of the flavor rewinding back to Friday. That game against the Clippers.
Yeah.
That was a lot of juice inside the Moda Center then, and it hasn't been that way in some time. Yes, we've had great games, and our fans continue to support this squad, and they've been amazing all year long. But you could tell when there was something riding on the line at that game on Friday, the energy level, the intensity, just the anticipation, the excitement inside the arena was picking up a notch or two. And then yes, we were playing the Sacramento Kings, who didn't play a lot of their players on Sunday, but there was still something on the line. Win, and you know where you're going. You're going to go play Phoenix tomorrow night. And so now to have that, now it's going to be a win or go home on Friday, or now we're in the actual playoffs against the Spurs. Moda Center is going to go up to 11. It's going to go all the way up to 11. I'm excited.
All right, one thing I wanted to ask you, because you've been watching this team for a long time, but this year's been unique from the standpoint that this group has overcome a lot of obstacles. The head coach was taken away after game number 1. They've experienced a lot of injuries throughout the course of the season. We saw 2 two-way guys in Caleb Love and Sidi Sissoko rise up and play meaningful minutes. We've seen the emergence of Donovan Clingan. Denny Avdia is an all-star. Drew Holiday and his leadership, Jeremy Grant embracing a different role on the team. Like, of all the different things that have gone on, like, what's been the most impressive thing to you as the season's played out?
I think, just listening to you rattle all that off, it's amazing to think all of that happened in one season. So
yeah, I know.
I think the way the activity of this team, the fact that the guys inside the locker room really stayed together. There was no fracture. There was no sort of speaking out of turn or anything else like that. They had the plan, they had the mission, and they were, in essence, a team. They are family inside that locker room.
Yeah.
And to be able to see them just continue to work and persevere despite all that and overcome the obstacles of injuries, and to see the guys, like you mentioned, Caleb and Sidi, and Chris Murray takes another jump, and Tumani continue overcome his struggles that he had in the middle of the season and the injuries, all that stuff, just to sort of maintain the course and come together even more closely as a unit. It's really been the most impressive thing to me, just to see how much they care about each other and how much they play for each other. Yes, we've had some great teams and some great teammates in the past, but this year in particular, I think the team has come together and really are playing for each other and for the fans and for the city, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's a great point. In fact, to build off of that, Todd, I was talking with Travis a couple of months ago, and I think they were in Oklahoma City on New Year's Eve. And so after the game, there was a New Year's Eve party get-together where they invited staffers and the guys to come down and get together there at the hotel where they could celebrate together. And Travis told me the coolest thing about that is that everybody showed up, every staffer, every single member of the team, and they were all there for an extended period of time just celebrating the new year together and having fun. And he said it was at that moment where he realized and recognized exactly what you talked about, the togetherness of this group and how well they get along and they truly enjoy each other's company. And I think in a lot of ways you can see that on the court.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give you another example. Last night, it's our last regular season game of the season, and we do our traditional shirt off back ceremony where we bring the season ticket members out onto the court after the game, and the players come on out and give an autographed jersey to season ticket members. So we go through it, and as soon as the player hands over his jersey, he's free to leave the court. But you could look at the court, and there was a good 10 players waited until the very last player. Unfortunately, it was Tumani Kamara. He got the short end of the stick. He had to stay out there the longest, but they waited because, no, we're like, you can go. It's like, no, I'm going to wait for Tumani so that they all could go back together as a group. That's not something I think happens often and oftentimes goes unseen and unnoticed. So to see just the awareness that, those type of moments and to be there for each other. Yes, Jeremy didn't play and other things, but they were still out there and connected as a group is amazing. It's only going to benefit this team in the, tomorrow night, Friday, wherever the future may hold. It's only going to be a benefit for us down the road.
That's great. How many years you been with the franchise now, Todd?
Man, this is I think I'm finishing up my 28th season. So yeah, my first season was that 99 lockout shortened season, man. But I tell you what, it is so much fun. I have the best job in the world, man. Yeah. I just love doing it. It's so much fun. So yeah, it's been a while, but I'm excited. Every day I get excited and I get fired up and ready to go to work. That's for sure.
No, that's great. All right, talk to me about this watch party tomorrow. So the first playing game is going to be on the road. It's down in Phoenix. Tip-off will be at 7 o'clock. But you guys have put together a watch party for everyone in Rip City to join at one of the great local bars, Jackie's. Tell me about it.
Yeah, absolutely. We encourage everyone to come on down to Jackie's. Like you said, we're going to have our official Trailblazers watch-in party. It's free. It's free entry, but you got to register. So go to trailblazers.com/bar network so you can RSVP. Jackie's is a great location. We've got a few different events out there. We're really excited. The game starts, like you said, at 7 p.m. Jackie's is going to open at 4 o'clock. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have playoff entries. We're going to have mascots. We're going to have dancers down there. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's a mini version of Moda Center. So, you look around the stands at home games and you see people high-fiving. They may not know each other. That's what the playoffs do. They bring the community together. You're hugging people when he hits his big-time shot against Oklahoma City back in 2019. There's people hugging each other that don't even know each other. But that's what it is. It's all about celebrating with like-minded friends and family and Blazer maniacs and making new friends and celebrating Trailblazers basketball and really just getting in that playoff spirit. So that way, whether we're playing next week against the Spurs in the playoffs or we're playing Friday against either the Clippers or the Warriors here inside Moda Center, that energy is starting tomorrow night, and it's at Jackie's. So I encourage everyone to come on down. We're going to have a great time, and we're going to cheer the Trailblazers on to victory and into the playoffs.
All right, they're going to have raffles, giveaways. The doors are going to open up at 4. The event will start at 5:30. You can RSVP right now to attend. Just go to trailblazers.com/bar network to be able to make that happen. And you're right about that with the watch parties, because I know a lot of people who, they love going to the home games, but for the road playoff games, they get too nervous when they're just sitting by themselves watching the game. And so I've talked to people that have gone to the watch parties, and it's exactly how you described it, Todd, where they get there, and once they're surrounded by Blazer fans, they feel like they're at Moda, they're at home, and they end up meeting people they would have never met before because they went out and went to one of the watch parties. That's part of the beauty of Rip City.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the beauties of sports, bringing people together, celebrating with someone you know. Now, all of a sudden, you walk in there because you're a Trailblazer fan. Now you instantly have something in common with this person who's in line behind you or the person standing at the bar next to you. You automatically have something that you can talk about. You have a shared interest. You have a shared passion. So let it out. Let that Rip City out and let your Blazer mania shine with pride and have some fun. It's basketball. It's fun. It's the postseason. It doesn't happen to everyone. There's some teams that are done. They're on the golf course. They're on the way to Cancun, wherever the case may be. But not the Trailblazers, not in Rip City. We're playing postseason basketball. So get out there and support this team and have some fun and enjoy this moment because it's been a while and we are ready for it.
Yes, we are. And you're going to have Blaze, the Trail Cat. He's going to be on hand at the watch party. And there's going to be Blazer dancers there as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be the ones helping us out, give away some prizes. So come dressed with your Blazers best. Be ready to have a good time. Cheer like the game's happening 5 feet in front of you. Enjoy Jackie's. Enjoy the atmosphere that's going to be out there. Like you said, lots of raffle prizes, lots of giveaways. And then hopefully we'll be able to relax a little bit after Tuesday night, recharge, and get ready for hopefully the Spurs. But if not, we'll be ready for Friday here on the Motor Center floor, that's for sure.
All right, so I got a couple more questions for you. One, after 28 years with the team, what's your favorite postseason memory with the Blazers? Is it the Dame shot against Oklahoma City? Is it the Dame shot against Houston? Is it something else? What stands out in your mind?
Well, there's a few. I think obviously the Dame shots against Houston, that one was pretty amazing just to ride the range of emotions. I think we were up by one. Houston had the ball, came on down. Someone missed a shot. Chandler Parson gets the rebound. And, of course, he puts it back in with 0.9 on left on the clock. So the range of emotions. So we're going to win. Now we might lose. We might go back to Houston. And then to see Dame come off that curl on that inbound pass and just to knock down that three-pointer was amazing. So that was great. And not only just the fact that it was the first time we won a playoff series in a long time, but the fact that, I'm in the mix, so I'm trying to organize everything that's happening during the course of the game. So I was fortunate enough, I got to get my seat and I went outside and we had a stage out on the commons outside by the fountain there. And just to see everybody just still partying like a half an hour after the game, just being so excited and just to be able to enjoy that moment with the fans was unbelievable. Then, of course, the Damian Lillard shot against Oklahoma City. I mean, that was just insane. And I remember just watching that and being as excited as everyone else. And then 10 minutes after the shot, no one had left the building. People just didn't know what to do. They just know they didn't want to leave. They wanted to be a part of it. So that was kind of cool. And then not only that, I got finally left the arena, cleaned up what I needed to do, then met up with some friends who were at a bar down the street from my house. This was like, 1 o'clock in the morning. They're replaying the game, and to see that shot on TV and everyone react like it was the first time they saw it was amazing too. So, that was unbelievable. But I mean, we've had so many great runs, and I think another great moment is that same 2019 when going to the Western Conference Finals, beating Denver in Denver. Game 7 was pretty sensational just because, I'm sitting at home with the family, which is not really something I get a chance to do all that much. But then they win, and then to go to stand on the yard and you could see people in the neighborhood celebrating, going out to their, outside, just yelling Rip City out in the neighborhood just because they're so excited. That's really what drives me, and just to be able to be a part of some special moments that everybody else has is really the joy of my life, and really makes my job all that much special just to have a small piece in other people's experiences. But, playoff, like I said earlier, anything can happen in the playoffs. I'm just excited to see what's going to unfold for us this year.
All right. I've decided I was a huge Price is Right fan when I was younger, so I've decided that after all these years, I think the Fred Meyer pricing game is my favorite in-arena game that you do. What is your favorite of all the games that you've done over the years?
Man, I do love the price range game, man. It's so fun because I get to stand there next to the contestant and I can see the wheels turning in their head. Like, shit, I want to stop now, but the fans are telling me not to, or the fans are telling me to stop. So I always tell them, I said, listen, you could go with your gut or you can go with the fans, man. But either way, it's your decision. So you let us know. So yeah, that's always fun. I like that one. I mean, you can't beat Toyota F-Court shots. Anytime you get such an amazing prize on the line, I think that interest level and excitement is always up there too. But I mean, all of the stuff that we do is fun just because the unpredictability of it, you never know what's going to happen. So I just go out there and experience it just like everybody else. I just happen to be on the microphone right there with the front row seat, but I just enjoy all of those contests and all of those silly little games that we play just like everyone else. So hopefully everyone enjoys them. But, price range game is up there. I like the First Tech Challenge where we have people shooting 4 different spots in 45 seconds.
That's cool.
So that we can win some good Rips Clothing Company gift cards and stuff. So we've got a lot of fun ones up there. Jamba Juice is always great because I just love it when the entire arena can win a prize too. So that's definitely up there as well. So we've got a lot of good ones, but Fred Meyer is definitely along the top. Fred Meyer, Jamba Juice, Toyota, those are probably my top 3. And I also, I'll go. I like the McDonald's McNugget races where we pass the big McNugget
Yeah.
across a couple different sections too.
That's good.
Anything that we can involve a lot of fans in, I'm all about, because I think the fans want to be involved rather than just watch one contestant do something.
I agree. All right, the watch party.
I know you like the battle balls too, or sometimes you love them, you hate them. So
Gosh, I got dominated in the battle balls. I got destroyed by Justin Myers, and then I had tic-tac-toe one, and I slipped and fell in a Nurkic jersey, and I got beat by Nigel Burton. So I've experienced nothing but humiliation.
Well, sometimes when the lights turn on, sometimes the moment is just too big for people.
It was too big for me, man. It was too big for me, Todd.
We'll come up with a third way. We'll find something that you could succeed at. So I don't know what that is, but we'll put our brains together and see what we can come up with.
Dude, I appreciate that. The watch party is going to be tomorrow. It's at Jackie's, which is a great local bar. The watch party. Blaze the Trail Cat and the Blazer Dancers are going to be on hand. They're going to have raffles, giveaways. The doors open at 4. The event will start at 5:30. The game tips off at 7. RSVP now at trailblazers.com/bar network. Todd Bosma, 28 years in with the Blazers. Todd, I love it when you come on the show, buddy. Thanks for your time, and have a lot of fun tomorrow. Let's go Blazers.
Yes, go Blazers indeed. And, if for some reason the ball doesn't bounce our way tomorrow, I look forward to seeing all the Blazer Maniacs here in the Moda Center on Friday, and it's going to be amazing. But we're shooting sometime next week and having the San Antonio Spurs here when we're in the actual playoffs. It's going to be amazing.
I love it, buddy. Thank you, Mike. You're the man.
Thank you, sir, man. Appreciate you.
You got it. Todd Bosma, Trailblazers, 28 years in. Watch party tomorrow. It's going to be at Jackie's. RSVP, just go to trailblazers.com/bar network. And the Blazers are guaranteed at least one postseason home game, so get your tickets now. Just go to trailblazers.com/tickets. Yeah, Todd's one of the good dudes in the biz. He's always got great energy. He's always in a good mood. He's great on the mic in front of the people at Moda Center. When I talk about, people, that you get a chance to be around, and the season's long, 6 months of your life just eaten up with games. It's nice when you get a chance to cross paths with Todd. He's normally going 100 miles an hour because he's busy, but I always enjoy the time I have a chance to catch up with him. But it is fun. I mean, that's what playoff basketball is all about. I've heard from some fans, there are some who are concerned. They don't want the Blazers to make the postseason because if the Blazers win tomorrow night or they win on Friday and advance to the playoffs, they will lose their draft pick. Now, I have heard from people pretty high up within the organization where they consider it a win-win. If you advance to the playoffs and get that experience for the young guys, it's great. If you don't and you get to keep the draft pick, that's fine too. And you got the experience of the play-in. But I think the Blazers, for the most part, see it as a win-win. I would love to inject truth serum into some of them to see what they would say. Like, what do they value more? But I think they look at it as a win-win. That's the way I look at it. And I would love to see them in the postseason. Not because I think they're going to smash the Spurs or the Thunder, but because you need that experience of playoff basketball to be able to take it, learn from it, and then get better the next year. Remember, the Blazers got knocked out in the first round in '88. They came back the next year and went to the NBA Finals. All right, 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Scoot Henderson going to join us sometime in the 5 o'clock hour. Our coverage tomorrow will start at noon. Game day at 5, tip-off at 7, all right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, Scoot Henderson going to join us sometime in the 5 o'clock hour, probably around 5:15 to 5:20, as the Blazers get set for their playing game tomorrow against the Phoenix Suns. Right now, Phoenix a 4-point favorite. Man, that should be one heck of a basketball game. I can't wait. I'm excited. I've been dying to get some, playoff basketball, intensity, games that matter, all the stuff that we enjoy about sports. We're going to get some of that, a big taste of it tomorrow. So not quite there yet, but getting Circus Tummy. I love Circus Tummy from sporting events. I got some of that on Friday with the Clipper game, and the Blazers came out and dropped the hammer. Scoot Henderson was asked yesterday following the game against the Kings what he's looking forward to, and here's what he had to say.
The atmosphere, especially going away, kind of first playoff play-in game. I think it's going to be a good atmosphere. It's like all odds against us. Young players on the team, whatever, this and that. I think it's a good chance to showcase who I am, who we are as a team.
Yeah, that's great. The atmosphere, you got to love it, especially going on the road. I kind of like the Blazers being on the road in this spot. You can take on that us against the world mentality. And I like that based on the way that they're playing right now. There was one other thing I wanted you to hear. This was asked by Brennan Green yesterday in the post-game press conference to Coach Splitter. Take a listen. I love the response.
What would have your reaction been at the beginning of the season if I would have told you that you would be a head coach in this position right now?
That you're nuts. But, stuff happens. Life is, sometimes you can know what's going to happen and happens. And then just glad to be in this situation with that group. Make everything easier. Great group of guys. I think, Joe put a great group of human beings first. And that makes everything easier. The day-to-day, even though we went through a lot of things throughout the season, I told them I'm so proud of every accomplishment that we had individually and as a group. Guys like Danny making the playoffs, the rising stars, the two-ways, everybody just going through some stress and getting better throughout the season. And now you're going to have a chance, hopefully, to have everybody and have the whole and full roster to compete in a play-in and playoff. So, I'm proud of them.
Yeah, great job by Coach Splitter stepping into a tough spot and delivering. Drew Holiday talked about playoff basketball, and, you've heard me say it time and time again that it's different. It's not the same as regular season basketball. How's it different? Here's a couple of thoughts from Drew.
The intensity is different. What's on the line is different. The rest are different. I don't know if that's going to get me fined, but it's a lot more aggressive. I think the games come down to possessions a lot more. Who makes more plays?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's more aggressive defense. The officiating's different, like the whole deal. And now the young Trailblazers get a chance to experience that. The Portland Fire have selected a pick in round 1 of the WNBA draft. I'm probably going to butcher the name. She is from Spain. Iana Martin Carrion. First pick for the Fire, pick number 7 in round number 1. From Spain, Iana Martin Carrion. Hopefully that's not too bad. How'd that sound, Shacker? Was that all right?
I'm already planning the parade when they win the championship with her.
All right, there you go. Iana Martin Carrion. Let's see here. Yep, played in Spain, 5'9". All right, so Scoot Henderson coming up here in the 5 o'clock hour. Looking forward to the game tomorrow. I can't believe Roy went back-to-back at the Masters. I was rooting against him. And Scotty Scheffler came up just short, but he really played himself out on Friday and then went back-to-back incredible rounds on Saturday, Sunday. Also, update on Isaac. My son is now like the master Uber Eats guy. On his bike, delivering food and beverage. anywhere in Southwest Washington. It's unbelievable. I am still astonished at my son. He does not work on Sunday. He likes to keep the Sabbath holy. That's exactly what he told me. And he's back at work today. It's an amazing gig for him, and he loves it. I even offered to get him an e-bike, or whatever they call those things, where they have like the battery power. And they did not have these when I was younger. He's like, no, Dad, I love my bike. He wants to pedal. You don't want an e-bike? I'll hook you up. No, I'm good. I'm good. That's what he told me. Oh, my goodness. I'm just telling you, if you have a kid with special needs who's young, you're probably thinking the same thing I used to think, like, what's he going to be able to do or she going to be able to do? And now my son is out there setting it up himself and now doing Uber Eats. It's unbelievable. I'm so proud of him, and yet I still can't believe that he's doing it. I forgot how much money he earned last week, but he was very happy about that. He also likes the fact that it goes automatically into like his digital wallet or whatever that is, and that he can just let the sum grow. I think he's got his eyes set on some type of vehicle that he's going to purchase, but more power to him. He's doing a heck of a job. I just wish I wish I could order something, or I could know how to order something where he would pick up the order and deliver it to me, because that'd be cool. So I'm just telling you, regardless of the disability, watching Isaac overcome the things he has to overcome just to get through a day, it's pretty impressive. But this one here takes the cake. He is thriving right now, and he loves it. He absolutely loves it. So I just tried to let him know, what I think. My thoughts on it. It's great. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Coverage tomorrow will start at 12 with Section 113 podcast. And then we'll get the Blazers balcony with Casey Holdaw and Brooke Olzendam. And then the Trailblazer Insider with Sean Hyken. Right into the Rip City Drive I'll have from 3 until 5. Kevin Calabro is going to join me tomorrow at 3:20. Chris Burkhart with Blazer Game Day at 5. And then the tip-off with the Suns down in Phoenix at 7 o'clock. Oh, Spirit Mountain Mike wants to chime in. I'm down with that. We'll talk to Spirit Mountain Mike coming up next. Blazers in action tomorrow. Tip-off at 7. Scoot Henderson coming up next hour. Then will join me on the Rip City Drive coming up this hour. The Portland Fire have made their first draft pick, the number 7 overall pick in the first round of the 2026 WNBA draft. Iana Martin from Spain. Your Portland Trailblazers are going to be in action tomorrow night in the Western Conference Play-In Tournament. They'll be in Phoenix to take on the Suns at Mortgage Matchup Center. Tip-off at 7. Blazers game day with Chris Burkhardt at 5. Tip-off with Travis Demers on the call at 7 o'clock. Phoenix is a 4-point favorite. If the Blazers win, they'll be the 7th seed and meet the San Antonio Spurs in round 1 of the playoffs. If they lose, they're going to host either the Warriors or Clippers on Friday night, 7 o'clock tip at Moda Center. LA and Golden State will play Wednesday night at Intuit Dome in Los Angeles. That game will tip off at 7. And if the Blazers win on Friday, they would become the 8th seed and take on the Thunder. More of the Rip City Drive coming at you right now. All right, Scoot Henderson coming up. My guess would be in about 15 minutes. Blazers now in Phoenix as they get ready for their matchup with the Suns tomorrow. Mortgage Matchup Center tip-off at 7. 503-248-0620. Let's go out to the phones right now. This guy here, I know, my man Mike, Spirit Mountain Mike, is joining us right now on the Rip City Drive. Mike, what's up, my friend?
Wrestler used to say, Johnny Main, there's excitement in the air.
Yeah. Don't you like it? You've been out in this area for a long time. Yeah, can't you feel it? I love playoff basketball, and I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow, Mike.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, yes, I'm just as excited. It's been a while. Of course, I'm a longtime Blazer fan, and to get a game that means something is really, really special again. I forget what it feels like.
Yeah, what do you think about the Blazers?
Going back to that game last Friday, Chad.
Yeah, the Clipper game?
I was really impressed with that.
Yeah, I thought the defense.
Because, I took toughness. The under and the Blazers for full game, but
nice
they
work.
really rose to the occasion, and I think they're ready for the playoffs. I think Phoenix is better be ready because we're coming in with, I think, almost a full set of steam.
Oh, there's no question. What do you think about the Blazers getting 4 points on the road tomorrow?
You know what? That 4 points sounds like a pretty good deal to me. That's a good value on that.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I just think
we're looking at probably a 2 or 3 point game. But yeah, anytime I think right now you can get the Blazers some points, I think it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, especially with the way they're playing defense right now. The cool thing is that if they win tomorrow, they will move on to meet San Antonio in round number 1. If they lose, then we'll get the Warriors or the Clippers on Friday night at Moda Center. So either way, we got more action coming at us this week, which I love.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I feel really good about that game tomorrow. Myself, with that defense, if they can play defense like that, and I think they're going to have enough scoring now with the addition of what's his name coming in, and he's going to be a big addition.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, man. I'm pretty excited, Mike. Hopefully I'll see you. I'll be down there on Saturday and Sunday for the drawing, so hopefully I'll see you this weekend down at Spear Mountain.
Hey, you know what? It sounds like a good deal, and go Blazers.
Go Blazers. There's Spirit Mountain Mike right there. Love that. 503-248-0620. Just taking a look. I put this post up before the season began. So back on October 21st of 2025, I put out my expectations / predictions for the upcoming season for the Trailblazers. So let's see how well I did. 45 wins, and I said the Vegas total between 32 and 32 and a half to 35 and a half. Pound the over. Well, they finished at 42 and 40, so they soared past the Vegas win total. Now, they came up 3 wins shy of my projection of 45. I said 45, they got 42. What I would say in my defense there is that They were third in the league in games lost due to injury. So with the injuries, they had to go through a lot of turmoil throughout the course of the season with their lineup. Had they been healthy throughout the course of the year, they would have won 50 games. So I feel like my projection with injuries factored in was pretty much spot on. I said top 5 to top 10 defense for the season. After yesterday's game against Sacramento, they finished the season tied for 11th with Charlotte. So just on the outside looking in. And again, I would say that injuries were a part of the reason for some of the inconsistency on defense. And had they been healthy throughout the year, I do think they would have fit right inside the top 10. I said Shaden Sharp will emerge as a number one option. And he started to, but here's the problem with he and Scoot. Injuries, which have prevented them from being on the court for an entire season. It's hard to really get a good read on either because Scoot missed the first half of the season and Sharp was out for multiple weeks with that calf. But he showed flashes of brilliance. And he's one of the best shot creators on the team. And he, for the most part, had a pretty good season until that injury sidelined him. He was engaged defensively, much better on that end. Proved to be a good shot maker. I don't know if he's a number one option yet, but he showed flashes. I said the team MVP would be Denny Avdia. I think that's pretty obvious. He's the MVP. He was an all-star. He's their best player. He was sensational. I could make the argument that Donovan Clingan is right behind Avdia in terms of importance on this team, but Avdia is the MVP. They go as Avdia goes. And the complexity of what he did by taking over and being the primary facilitator when they had no point guard, and the load that he took on, the work that he did, the way he played, the way he led, Avdia was awesome. I also said I'm taking the patient approach with young Hansen. I said I expect his transition to the NBA to be rough, a 2 to 3 year process. I think I was pretty spot on that. I also said that Drew Holiday would be a major difference maker on both ends and will help this team win games now. I mean, that's obvious. He was front and center. He got his name put in the box after the game on Friday with the win over the Clippers for the way he was able to help lock down Kawhi Leonard. And his shot making over the last few weeks of the season was huge, especially when Jeremy Grant was sidelined. Holiday's been great. And I said the defense will carry the team early as they adjust to a new offense under Coach Splitter. Well, I'm not so sure that was the case because they had so many injuries that kind of derailed everything. Derailed the defense. The injuries derailed their offense. They had to slow things down. They had to usher in City Sissoko and Caleb Love. But overall, I feel like my projections were pretty good. And 42-40, I mean, if you take everything into account, 42-40 based on your head coach being taken away after game one, an acting head coach in Tiago Splitter having to step in and take over, injuries from here to wazoo, and to finish up the year at 42-40 and to make the play-in and have a great shot at the postseason, I think is terrific. Very impressive. Telephone number 503-248-0620. I just got the notice. Let's go ahead and take a break. Scoot Henderson's going to be calling here in about 5 minutes. So we'll come back and talk with Scoot here on the Rip City Drive. Blazers Suns tomorrow at 7, all right here on your home of the Blazers. Your only place to get local coverage during the postseason here on Rip City Radio 620. All right, let's head down to the Valley. The Trailblazers are getting ready for their play-in game against the Suns tomorrow night. Tip-off will be at 7, live right here in your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. And joining us right now, point guard for your Portland Trailblazers, Scoot Henderson here on the Rip City Drive. Scoot, how excited are you 24 hours away from your first postseason game?
Yes, sir. Chad, what up? Rip City, what up?
What up?
Man, I'm super excited, man. Just happy to get out there and kind of showcase, my work.
Yeah, no doubt. And you've been putting in a lot of work, and it's been exciting to see you grow and develop as you continue to get more comfortable with the team. You had mentioned yesterday after the game, Scoot, that you were looking forward to the atmosphere and what you're going to have tomorrow. And I kind of like you guys going in on the road for your first game with that us against the world mentality. What do you expect in your first playoff game being on the road?
I expect it to be very physical. I expect no calls from any of the referees. I expect the stands to be loud, kind of chirping at us. I expect, just like you said, us against the world type of vibe.
Scoot, you've got some great teammates, and you got some great veteran leaders like Drew Holiday, Jeremy Grant, Damian Lillard. Is this a situation where you ask them maybe a couple of questions about playoff basketball with maybe the officiating or the physicality, or do you already know, or have you had those conversations?
Man, we had that conversation this morning before we left, and I think everybody knows that there's not going to be any calls. A lot of things are going to be able to slide tomorrow defensively, so we can be very physical tomorrow. That's kind of our mentality going into it. But, yeah, definitely lean on them, asking some questions. They've been in these situations plenty of times, at the highest level, winning championships, being high energy playoff games, so of course.
Scoot, one of the things I appreciate about you is just your the way you carry yourself, the way you work, and the way you operate. And I've talked to a lot of people within the organization. They've been blown away by just your approach, your attitude, your approach, your work ethic, the time that you put in on the game. I've been told that you're a gym rat. Where did you develop those work habits from to be young in the NBA but come in ready to work and put in the time so you can be great?
Definitely, man. I appreciate that. Honestly, it's just growing up, having my dad and my mom, and they always instilled in me that the mentality of, play hard or don't play hard or not too. So I've always been a gym rat. My dad, he's helped with that, just being home at Next Play 360, working out and things like that. So that's something that I've been having since I was a kid.
I talked to Joe Cronin and a couple of others before the season began. I asked about you, and they said, man, they were really pleased with your off-season work and the time you put in during the summer, the attention to detail. They really thought you were ready to hit the ground running, and then all of a sudden you suffered the hamstring injury. What was your mindset when you got word that you were going to be out of action for several months?
Man, it was devastating for sure, but honestly, I was on to the next level, on to the next thing right after that. Right after it happened, I just started smiling like, all right, well, this is what God has in plan, and I trusted him, and man, we're here now. So trusting him has done me nothing but good.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because you had mentioned your faith yesterday where you said, hey, God doesn't make mistakes, and we're in the position exactly where we're supposed to be according to what he wants. And I'm wondering, did you take that approach with the injury where it's like, hey, the Lord doesn't make mistakes. The injury is unfortunate, but I'm here for a reason. And I'm wondering, with that type of approach, what did you learn maybe about yourself or about the game when you're rehabbing and get a chance to sit back and observe?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my faith definitely grew stronger during that time, man. It was a weird time. I never have been injured for that long, or even at that kind of injury. It was so severe that I sat out 51 games, and it was something for me that I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get out there and play and show people this and that. But honestly, it was just time for me to grow my faith in the man above, and something that I've learned just watching is just what we needed as a team, and that was to get in the paint quick and spray out and get guys open shots, make it easier for everybody.
How hard is it? I've been told by other guys who have played various sports that rehab is difficult because you're away from the guys. You're not with the team at all times. You've got your trainer and your crew, and you're working on it, but you're away from the guys. How difficult is it to grind through that without the guys around?
Man, it's pretty difficult. Like I said, man, since I was young, I've been blessed with the mentality of just working hard, man, and getting to the next step. And it's not fun. I say that rehabbing every single day is not fun. I'd rather definitely be playing basketball with the guys. having fun out there on the court, showcasing our talents. But it's a stepping stone that you got to go through. So.
I wanted to ask you about the team. I think what I'm most proud of with this group this year is when I look at the season as a whole, you guys finished with a winning record. You're in the play-in, which is awesome. But I love the fact that this team went through so many different obstacles, the adversity with the head coach being gone after game number 1, Tiago Splitter having to take over, and the guys suffering through significant injuries. So we had so many different guys going in and out of the lineup. We saw a couple of two-way guys in City Sissoko and Caleb Love step up and play meaningful minutes, and all these different contributions. So when you look back on the season, I think, man, there's a lot of success that goes around, a lot of credit to go around for the work that was put in. How do you view the season now that you take a look back?
Yeah, man, I was just thinking about that the other day, just us fighting adversity, and we did a great job. You know, like you said, we had guys like City Sissoko and Kayla Love, man. They did amazing, tremendous job just stepping up and being ready for the opportunity. And, you know, I got to give them the props right there. You know, they prepared themselves for when the time came, and it came, and they prospered, you know, tremendously. We were able to see things that, you know, we might have not seen if the things that happened didn't. You know, so like I said, man, the man above does not make mistakes. Everything's done for a reason, and we were able to see a lot of people shine through that. You know, Thiago just stepping up and taking that to the chin, like being a great leader. You know, being a great coach's player, being a great leader. So.
Yeah, it's great. I was talking with Donovan a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about Tiago Splitter. He said it's great to have a coach that played the same position as him because they kind of speak the same language. But it's got to be nice to have a guy like Tiago because he's not too far removed from the game. He played high-level basketball. He's won a championship. Like, I would imagine that when he speaks, like, you guys can relate to what he's saying because he's not too far removed from the NBA game.
No, for sure. He was been coaching since he's stopped playing, so he's definitely one of us.
You know, I noticed yesterday, I was going to ask you about what area of your game you get more comfortable with. It looks like things are slowing down. There was a play yesterday where you got the ball on a pass. You could have drove into the paint and attacked the bigs, but you pulled it back out, waited, and then you went on the bounce and you created an and one opportunity. But I've noticed that your pull-up threes off the bounce, your catch and shoot. Like, it seems like you're getting more comfortable. Like, are you noticing one area of your game that you're feeling more comfortable with, or is it all just slowly starting to come together?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like it's pretty much all slowly starting to come together with just, you know, the minutes I'm playing and the guys that I'm playing with and you know, being in a different situation than I've ever played. And that's kind of like off the ball, on the ball, you know, in transition. I feel like I've been able to kind of prosper in certain areas like that I wouldn't have been if I wasn't to play with the guys that I'm in the kind of routine with. So
yeah, no, I got it.
To shoot threes, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. We're talking with Scoot Henderson, Trailblazer point guard. I want to ask you about a couple of your teammates. First off, Denny Avdia, all-star. He, you know, really took on the role when there were injuries to take over the primary facilitator role. He's shown toughness. He pushes the tempo. Like, what are your thoughts on the way he's played this year?
Man, I love Denny's game, man. He's right at you. He's right at you. He does not shy away from contact, and if you're in his way, he's going to go through you. he's not going to go around you. He's going to go right through you. So that's something that I can respect about Denny, man. You know, there's a lot of guys in the NBA that kind of shy away from contact, man. He's there to enforce it, and you know, you always need a guy like Denny on your team, just aggressive downhill, and like you said, man, all-star season, MIP. Hopefully, you know, if they make the right decision. So
yeah. How great has it been to have Matisse Thybulle back on the floor with his defense and quickness and the way he can disrupt the passing lanes?
Man, it's so fun to have Matisse just on the court. You know, we had practice earlier on in the season, you know, in the summertime, and it's just he's annoying. He's annoying to play against. He's annoying to be around when you have the ball. I'm just glad everybody else is getting a taste of the medicine.
You know, Tamani Kamara has been great all year defensively, and a couple of weeks ago, Tiago Splitter said he can go to Tamani and say, hey, I need you to set the tone defensively. We know that he's gotten his name put in the box a number of times this year, but what do you think about his competitive nature and the toughness he shows on that end when he's setting the tone for you guys defensively?
Man, Tamani, that's my dog, man. Like you say, he sets the tone for us. And when we go out there third quarter, he's, come on, y'all, come on. We need a few stops in a row right here. He's always encouraging, and you know, me right back at him, and that's how we keep each other on our toes. That's how we keep each other accountable. and he kind of takes pride on that side specifically. But offensively, he's just grown so much, and I'm proud of him. So.
Hey, Scoot, you can speak to this. I've heard from a number of guys around the team that talk about the togetherness of this group. There's a lot of close friendships on this team. The locker room, by all accounts, is really good. How close is this group, and how much does that help you as you guys continue to grind throughout the season?
Yeah, I think this group is really close, man. We just had dinner the other day, and it seems like everybody's just on one accord. And when everybody's on one accord, it's kind of easy to string together. So. Man, like you said, we have a lot of relationships on the team and coaching staff as well. Like, I think it's just a well-oiled machine.
You know, you came from the other side of the country, and you got to Portland when you were young. What do you think about the Northwest now that you've had a chance to settle in here and Portland being your home?
I love it, man. I love it now. It's different. Like you said, it's different. I had to get used to it for sure, but Portland has definitely grown on me. And I'll definitely love to be out here in the summer more.
Yeah, no doubt. The summer times are the best. Now, with the Suns tomorrow, they've provided some stiff competition for you guys throughout the season. What do you think about the matchup with the Suns tomorrow night, and what are some of the things that they can do to hurt you that you have to be prepared for?
Man, I think it's going to be a fun matchup. Like you said, we've kind of been neck and neck all season, playing against each other at least. But I think some things are just a rebounding aspect. We have to rebound the ball very well tomorrow, offensively, crash, and just get out and run. You know, we have to if not like master physicality, kind of exceed it. You know, we kind of have to be more tough to them and go out there and throw the first punch. We can't get punched in off to then try to, play defense after. We got to go out there, swing first, swing twice, swing second, swing the third time, and keep at it.
How tough is Devin Booker?
And he's obviously, one of the premier players in the league, and for the last few years, if not say, but he's going to be a great matchup for us, and I think we're going to be able to stop him. And with just what we have going on, just offensively, defensively, we kind of got to run him. He's going to play the minutes tomorrow, so we kind of got to attack him on both sides of the floor. We can't let him just have fresh legs all game, and then we're going to be in trouble if that happens.
Yeah, no question. Scoot, so what are the advice when you talk to mom and dad about the game coming up tomorrow night? What are some of the pointers they have given you before the matchup?
Man, this is what I dream of. This is the opportunity that I prayed for. This is the opportunity that we've all wished for, since I've been playing football in my backyard, playing against my brother, him tackling me really hard, and me and my little sister playing basketball together. This is the moments, like right here and so forth, that we kind of look forward to. And I'm so blessed to just be in this position with my team and my family to just have my back on it. But I know the work that I put in, and my mom's always going to say, play hard or don't play, but my dad's going to say, go out there and kill him, and have fun doing it. So.
Are you going to be able to sleep tonight? Are you going to be too keyed up? Or are you going to be? Are you one that can sleep before a big game?
I'm one that sleep before a big game. I like to. I got to get my rest. If not, I'm gonna be in trouble. So yeah, I definitely probably get some Z's in.
Well, I'll tell you what, Scoot, nothing but respect for you, my friend. I appreciate your time on the show and sharing your thoughts before the big matchup tomorrow night. I can tell you this, Scoot, Rip City is behind you, and they want to see you go out there and thrive with your teammates tomorrow night. Let's get the win and move on to San Antonio.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Chad. Yes, sir. Shout out to City.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks, Scoot. There's Scoot Henderson, point guard for the Portland Trailblazers. You got it, buddy. How about that? Big thanks to Rasan Gathers of the Trailblazers and Scoot Henderson for spending some time here on the Rip City Drive. That's big time right there. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. See, that's what I love about Scoot. A lot of people have asked you about Scoot, early on, as you would expect for a young player. As a rookie, he goes through the ups and downs, the struggles. But the reason why I've always had optimism in Scoot is because everyone I've talked to from the top down, around the organization, within the organization, people who see the work and the time that he puts in, that they praise him for his work ethic. So, one, he's got incredible God-given ability. Just look at his body. A young man who is chiseled out of stone, incredible athlete with explosiveness, very fast. But he's also got the mindset and the work ethic. And when you put in that type of time and you're willing to listen to your coaches, your teammates, your veteran teammates, and continue to work on your craft, there's only good things that are going to come from that. And so that's why I've never worried about Scoot continuing this pathway of development. And you can see it now showing flashes as the game continues to slow down. He gets more comfortable out there. The shots coming around. He's rounding into form. And I've got a lot of hope in him. But his attitude, his demeanor, his energy, the way he carries himself, like guys like being around him. And he's got that positive attitude. And it's great when you can be a young player, come in the league and be able to bring that to the table and take on and accept whatever role you've been given. And I'm happy for him, too, because he's been able to excel in the starting lineup ever since Jeremy Grant's been out with the calf. So, love that. Really excited about that. So, the game tomorrow will tip off at 7, and our coverage will start at noon. So, we're going to go 12 o'clock. We will have Section 113, Travis and I, and then we're going to have a fresh edition of the Blazers Balcony with Casey Holdaw and Brooke Olzendam. And then the Trailblazer Insider Show with Sean Hyken, who's going to be in Phoenix for the game. He takes off tomorrow morning. And then after that, we got the Rip City Drive at 3, and then Blazer Game Day will be at 5, and the tip-off is at 7. And the way they've got it set up now with the NBA and the new TV deal, there's no local television for any of the playoff games. It's all national. So the game tomorrow is going to be on Amazon Prime. So the best local coverage of your team will be via the radio with Travis Demers. We stream all the Trailblazer games via the iHeartRadio app, so you can listen on the app. You can listen to the radio. You can listen to Alexa, however you want to do it. But that's what I'd recommend. So that way you're getting the local coverage with the pre, the game, and the post. And then hopefully the Trailblazers get the win tomorrow, move on to San Antonio. And I think how it's going to set up, if they win tomorrow, they'll play in San Antonio, evening game on Sunday. If they lose and then win the game on Friday, they'll play an afternoon game Sunday in Oklahoma City. But I think that's how it's shaping up. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Oh, that was good. Scoot's cool. I'm down with Scoot. But that's the way this team is. He mentioned the togetherness. There's a lot of likable guys on this roster. Donovan Clingan. He comes from good stock, comes from a good program at UConn. He wants to win. He's got the right attitude. Tamani Kamara, selfless in the way he plays defensively. Drew Holiday is the nicest guy in the NBA. Robert Williams III, a selfless guy who works his tail off. When you put together a team with those type of guys, you're going to get this type of, performance. And now that we're seeing them healthy, we're starting to see the production start to rise. So I guess the good thing is that whatever they get out of this, if they move on to the postseason and get that experience, if they get knocked out of the play-in, at least moving forward that this team, I think, is in a good spot. One, because they got some good pieces. Two, because the cupboard's no longer bare. They've got some assets to work with to continue to improve the team. And more importantly, they've got leadership at the top. No more questions about ownership. They've got an ownership group, Rip City Rising. Tom Dundon is heading that up. And now they've got direction at the top with someone that wants to win and will be willing to invest to make that happen. So after the few years of darkness through the rebuild process, now this team's on the other side of that. And the trajectory is moving upward, which is great and something we can be excited about. And I just think this season, regardless of what happens tomorrow or Friday or in the postseason, just look back on the year, a successful season for the franchise, especially when you consider all the different things they had to go through. I still can't believe that the head coach was taken away by the FBI after game number 1. It's like, wait, what? Brian Noe bet the over. He's calling me up. What's going on in Portland? Well, I don't understand. But to see the way they recovered from that, they came out in that second game after the loss to Minnesota and the loss of Billups. They came out and destroyed the Golden State Warriors. It's like, okay, it's going to be okay. Pro players are really good about compartmentalizing, taking what they're dealt with and the situations, the noise going on around them, and just focusing on the task at hand. Most of them are really good at that type of stuff. But this group's been solid throughout. Let's go back out to the phones. Raider Mike wants to chime in. I know he's excited about playoff basketball with the Blazers. Raider Mike, what's up?
Finally. I actually, because I haven't been watching them much the past few years, because having them, the A's and the Raiders as your teams is just horrifying. All heads and ducks. But how this Cronin assembled this team was brilliant. I think he's a really good GM. So this team's fun to watch. They're exciting. They've grown up together. And I'm still blown away about Chauncey. That was wild. It really was, man.
Yeah. And a lot of teams, a lot of franchises could have crumbled after something like that, but this group came together and grinded through.
They got stronger. I'm thinking bonded them together tighter. I think Tiago's a keeper too. Have they decided whether they're keeping him or not yet?
No decision. No decision's been made yet on, any of those type of moves with the coach or, the front office. But I would think that if Tiago Splitter, as acting head coach, comes in and gets the team into the postseason, it'd be very hard to move off of him. I would say that.
I agree. I say hold on to the guy. I think he galvanized the team, and obviously they're doing really well. And that interview with Scoot was fantastic. It really was.
Great young man.
Going to my great dude. Love that guy. And he's still a baby. He's only going to get better and better and better. So I'm excited about the Blazers. Can't wait till tomorrow night.
Now, it sounded like you said you were going to go to a reunion. Is that where you're going?
I'm going to my first draft.
Oh.
Where I've got there's 4 or 5 guys are going to be there that I do radio with out here on the East Coast. And, of course, Raider Nation guys are going to be there as well. So you'll hear my mouth on Radio Row. No, the reunion will be with me and the Franco Harris Immaculate Deception statue. That'll be the reunion. If I can pull it off twice. You know what I did to that statue 30 years ago, right?
I do know, yes.
Yes, yeah. Late night airport, hammered, 2 weeks of corporate training. It was rough training, too. And there he was. There was no security, no TSA. Boom. It's outside the airport now. It's a lot easier to hit. Anyway, Fernando is not going to be there. That bums me out. But I'm sure they'll have cameras in his house with his family. And that makes me even think more highly of him. He wants to share that moment with his mom and his dad that really brought him to where he is right now. So, and he's going back to Miami where he went to high school. Anyway, brother, let's go Blazers, man. I am so pumped. Blazers, I'm out, bro.
You got it, buddy. There you go. There's Raider Mike. Yeah, I'm surprised the NFL, you would think that, Fernando Mendoza is the star of the NFL draft. You would think they would make whatever accommodations were necessary to make that happen, to get his family there and give his mom the care that is needed to make sure he's on hand for the draft. But, yeah, I got nothing but respect for Mendoza. Great young man, and I just hope he is able to thrive in the NFL because he's got a chance to be a great cornerstone for a franchise. Work ethic, attitude. He's like Scoot. Puts in the time, good young man. Well, that pumped me up hearing from Scoot. He's excited for tomorrow. He's going to be able to sleep tonight. I will be all keyed up. I would be nervous before a big game. My first playoff game. Like he said, that's what's really cool. Everything that he's dreamed about growing up and visualizing the moment, that moment's tomorrow. To be on that stage, first playoff game, and getting a chance to go out there and make it happen, I think that's pretty sweet. All right, we'll keep things rolling. Trailblazers, Suns, tip-off tomorrow at 7 right here in your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Hacker just informed me that he cleaned out his locker here at the studios. Just informed me that he cleaned out his locker here at the studios. We're having to take stuff down off the wall because they're doing some painting. There's just a bunch of mess going on. And frankly, being in the building right now is a disaster. There's too much noise, too much chaos. But Michael and I grinded through. He found oatmeal that might be a decade old in his locker.
Over a decade.
Now, was this oatmeal that had been cooked, or is it just sitting in one of those little pouches?
Yeah, the little packets, Quaker Instant.
I would suggest not eating it. I'm one of those people where I suffered from food poisoning once, 1994, black bean soup. I don't take any chances on food ever again. If I don't know or there's any question mark in my mind, it's going in the trash.
It's all dehydrated food. I think it's built to last.
Yeah, the oatmeal. Yeah, like if you heated that up and ate it, it would probably be okay.
Yeah, and I threw it away in the garbage can in here. Now it smells like maple brown sugar in here. So I think it's leaking out.
That's better than some of the other smells that have floated around in that room you're in right now, I would guess. Just a rough guess.
What, the Michael Jordan cologne smell that's usually in here?
Dude, I love MJ. I think it was like 96. I got one of my Christmas presents, stocking stuffer, was like MJ. It was like a dual gift, Michael Jordan cologne with Michael Jordan body wash. And the body wash, it smelled just about as bad as a cologne, but it dried out my skin. And I'm like, I'm surprised that MJ would put his name on that.
Oh, I've been using the George Kittle body wash.
What? George Kittle's got body wash?
Yeah, he partnered with Old Spice.
Oh, that's right. He did was that the one where he's on the deer or something like that?
No, that's pizza commercial.
That's a good commercial, too. Oh, my goodness. You and I were talking about old television shows. I've been going back watching. They got them on, I think it's Prime. I've been watching old Price is Rights from like the late 70s, early 80s. Amazing. Like the stuff, Bob Barker's amazing.
Yeah, Holly was always my favorite presenter, and I think she was in the news recently.
Holly?
Yeah, she's kind of got Me Too'd from Bob Barker, and that coming out now.
Huh. I knew
bummed me out because I thought they had such good chemistry on TV. I didn't know there was some dark side behind the scenes.
Let me pull up Holly. Little Google image activity here. Holly Price is Right. That's the one with the red hair?
Correct. So you're paying attention. If you know the name of the presenters, you're paying close attention to Price is Right.
I remember Diane was one. I don't know who my favorite presenter is. I haven't thought about that. I like them all, Michael. Diane, Price is Right. I thought Diane was okay, too. But, yeah, the show's great. The pricing games, Bob. The stuff he said back then would probably be considered inappropriate. I've heard him say a couple things where I'm like, I don't think that would fly in today's world, but it was a different time back then.
I like that Todd from the Blazers said his favorite game is when he gets to pretend to be Bob Barker and do the Price is Right game.
Yeah. I like the Fred Meyer pricing game at Moda Center is awesome.
I play along. I try to guess.
I think the Fred Meyer pricing game is a little bit easier than some of the pricing games on Price is Right. But no, I do. I like to go back and watch old TV shows. I've been watching a lot of Quincy on Get TV. These are things I flip on. I always have the TV on when I go to sleep, so I'll set the timer and I'll tune it in like Perry Mason or Quincy or one of the old shows.
Well, I saw Chris Elliott recently on the show Schitt's Creek, and he had a sitcom, Get a Life, where he played a 30-year-old paper boy. One of those short-lived shows that was awesome and then gone before its time.
I don't think I ever watched that.
Oh, it's hilarious.
The thing you and I are most concerned about is like Disney just cannot mess up this Mandalorian movie that's coming out here in the near future. What's the release date on it? You're not
late May.
Okay, so if I go, because you're one of those guys, you don't like to go to the movie theater, so you wait for it to come out on.
Well, this decade, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to always go.
So
see movies the day they come out.
I will go opening night to see Mandalorian because I'm excited about it. But if I tell you that it's really good, will you go see it in the theater? You're going to wait.
I don't want to wait because I want to know the story and what they're going to do with the Star Wars world.
And you said Ryan Gosling's involved in Star Wars now?
Yeah, he's going to be starring in a movie next year.
Okay. But I like Gosling. He's cool.
Yeah, if Star Wars needs star power to stay alive, bring it on. Get the biggest stars in your movies. Just make movies. Come on, is Hollywood even making movies? I always hear about like California and LA's falling apart due to the movie industry. They're decreasing productions.
I think a lot of the movies are being produced like in Georgia now. Easier regulation to get things done. So I think a lot of stuff's being produced out of Georgia. And I think overseas too. Other countries.
That makes me sad, just being an older person where it felt like everything was made in Hollywood decades ago.
It was. And that's where people went when they wanted to become a movie star. They'd go and catch any type of odd job in Hollywood, hoping they could meet the right person or get in front of the right person to get an opportunity to make things happen. I think Vanna White was on. I haven't come across that episode yet, but I think there's an episode where she was on Price is Right when she was younger.
Well, as a contestant?
Yeah, contestant, not as a presenter. Contestant. But I haven't seen the episode yet. Maybe Bob offered her a job as a presenter after she was a contestant. I'm not sure.
She got a better job.
That was a good run. Pat Sajak and Vanna White, that's a good run on Wheel of Fortune. I think hosting a game show would be right up there near the top of the list. Like, I love radio, but I've always been a big game show guy. Like, hosting a game show would be awesome. I never got to interview Bob Barker. I did interview Bob Eubanks a couple times. He was super cool.
And didn't you get Wink Martindale?
Wink Martindale, stud. Love that guy, too. Yeah. Yeah, I love those shows. But, that's what I did when I was younger at Grandma's house during the summertime. We'd watch game shows. It was too hot. You go outside in the humidity when it was like 90 degrees. You play for a while, but then you got to come in and sit under the air conditioner, so we'd watch game shows.
On the weekend, I was watching one of the Beaver baseball games, and as soon as it ended, channel 32.2 went to an old Johnny Carson show.
I like those, too. I've watched most of those now, but they're terrific. And what I do now is I'll go through and pull up episodes of Carson when he's got certain guests that I want to see back in the day. Like, I think Robin Williams on the Carson show is unreal. He's so wild and so out of control that Carson just cracking up the whole time. It's fabulous. I've watched all the ones with Michael Landon. I love that. I've seen Eddie Murphy's first appearance on Carson. That was great. Seinfeld. And Rodney, I think Dangerfield and Robin Williams are probably right up there near the top in terms of my favorite guests. Because I like guys that legitimately made Carson laugh. And I like Ed McMahon. He was cool.
Yes. I miss Dwight James being in that chair just saying, yes.
Yes.
To everything you'd say.
All right. Big thanks to our guest today, PGA Day, David Coleman, breaking down the Masters. We talked to Todd Bosma, who was getting us prepared for the watch party tomorrow at Jackie's. Again, if you want to be a part of the Suns, you can RSVP at trailblazers.com/bar network. Doors open. You can RSVP at trailblazers.com/bar network. Doors open at 4. The event will kick off at 5:30. Blaze the Trail Cat and Blazer Dance is going to be on hand. Raffles, giveaways, and a lot of fun. So check it out. Go to trailblazers.com/bar network. We kick off our Trailblazer coverage tomorrow at noon. Blazers game day at 5 with Chris Burkhardt. Tip-off at 7 with Travis Demers here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Courtside Monday is coming up next.